Hi everybody, welcome to Round the Twist, episode 236. It is February 17th, 2016, and it's been a bit of a trying day with the twins. They're definitely hitting terrible twos, three-nagers. I hate to use that term when they're not even 2.5 yet. I don't know where Tara picked it up, but lately if I ask her to do something, or are y'all done eating, or like last night they were in the bathtub and it's okay, you ready to get washed up? Because normally you can kind of tell when they're done playing and ready to get out of the tub, so hurry up and wash them, get them out. And she actually put out her hand to me and said, Mama, no. And I was like, oh my gosh, the attitude. Oh, I was like, you are way too young to be doing that, child. So but then she comes running up to me and it's more snuggles, and my heart just melts, and you forget about the little diva attitude that she had 2 minutes earlier. So it is a knitting show. Let's get into what's on my needles. First thing, in my Girl Cave bag, I have a finished sock. This is my 72 stitch vanilla special snowflakes sock. The first sock. I have not started the second. In fact, I just bound off this first one, or finished Kitchening and weaving in the ends this morning. So the yarn is from Gail's Art, and it is her special secret sock blank, which is a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon in the special snowflake colorway. This was from her sock blank club that she had, and the sock blank looked something like this, only imagine like this whole thing down here, up here as well. The big snowflake kind of marked the center of the sock blank, so I didn't quite use half. I'm about 3 inches away from using half of the sock blank, so I'll probably end up with about that from here down left, just judging. Alright, so first sock is done. I did write in the pattern notes on my Ravelry project page for these special snowflake socks. I did write like just so I can keep track and not have to go back and dig this out and count how many rows. I actually wrote how many rows of 1x1 rib, how many rows for the cuff, how many slip stitches I did on the heel. That's the thing I always forget. And then that I did a gusset, what heel turn I used, and then how many rows I did before I started the toe. So I'm happy with these. They came out really nice. There's not two, I can't say these yet. They came out really nice. I felt like the foot was getting really long, but I kept trying it on, and it's like, no, not quite there, not quite there. For some reason I thought I only had to do 60 stitches on the foot and not 70, or 60 rows on the foot and not 70, and it was just blowing my mind that I still had like 1.5 inches to go before I needed to start the toe, and I'm like, my feet haven't grown. They shouldn't be doing this. But I knit these up on a US 1. It's an Addi Turbo Lace needle, 2.25 millimeter. So nice sharp pointy needles. That's my go-to for magic loop for socks. And I'll get the second one started probably this weekend sometime. I doubt I'll do it today. I did the toe today, and I'm not really in the mood to knit more on sock yarn. I don't know why. I'm just not. So, oh, and then I don't even have this on the right page. Karen, really falling apart here, people. It's just not good. So that's the first thing. Second thing is my Weigh It number 4, which is the Yowza Weigh It Shawl 4 by Susan B. Anderson. I'm knitting mine in the colorway Zombie Honeymoon from Miss Babs in the Yowza, which is an 8-ounce skein of worsted weight yarn. I happened to have my kitchen scale out yesterday for something completely different. And I was like, ooh, I should probably weigh that ball of yarn, see how far I have left to go, and, look at the pattern and not just keep knitting along on my merry way and then discover that I'm out of yarn and I haven't done the edging yet. Whoops. So I did weigh the remaining ball. I can't remember exactly. I think I had something like 136 grams left. And I need to get down to 70 some odd grams. It's 72 or 76. So I have roughly 60 grams, so a little less than half of this needs to be knit up into the shawl before I can start working the edging. So I'm knitting it on a US 5, or US 5, a US 8, which is a 5.0 millimeter needle. I am using my signature circulars. Yeah. My regular signatures are holding up just fine for some reason, but I know other people have had issues with them, and if and when these die, I will not be replacing them, but that's time and tale for another show. But I am using my signatures. Someone had asked that, I think, in the Any Questions thread, but it's quite a ways down. I keep forgetting to say, oh yeah, by the way, the needles I'm using are my signatures. Daisy. Munchkin, I love you. This smelly coon is annoying. Take it somewhere else. So, I'm maybe about 4.5 feet across the top edge. Across the edge that I'm knitting on, let's get this up. So I've got my marker. I only put on another inch this week. I really was motoring on that sock because I thought I was so close, I can get this done, and then it ended up being this huge, longer process to get the sock done. So move my marker up. Maybe I can work on this a bit more. This week was not big for crafting for me for some reason, so it's going to be a little bit shorter show, and that's okay. But I'm liking this. I love the color. I wasn't sure if I would because it's something a little more outside my comfort zone. I'm not that big into the girly pinks, and that was part of my... Daisy. Really? Really? Can you take it somewhere else? Take it upstairs. Kill it somewhere else, please. So, part of my test when I started doing these if one being in this house is not driving me nuts, it's another one of them. Daisy, bring it here. Come on. Come on. Because guess what? You lose it. Part of my thing with doing the Yowza shawls when I bought the yarn for the first 3 was that I wanted to pick colors that weren't my normal. So colors outside my comfort zone. The guano crazy had a lot more green than I normally do after I knit that huge green calligraphy sweater a few years ago. The coffee break color was definitely out of my comfort zone. Berlin was a little bit closer, but like I talked about last week, the blue, there was a lot of blue in my skein, but I've seen other ones where there was a whole lot of lime green, and I would have looked at that and gone, eesh, that's not, no. But then standing in front of a rack of Yowza and seeing all the babettes and the variegated skeins and looking at them going, yeah, I like that one. Let's do that one. I kept coming back to the zombie honeymoon, and I think I was looking at funny papers and another one. I can't remember exactly which one it was. Maybe it was deep sea jellyfish, which is a lot of pinks and oranges. Again, not my normal wheelhouse of colors that I enjoy, but this one kept coming back to me, and it has the pinks, it has the greens, but it also has this gorgeous purple in it that I love, and there's not a lot of it, so it does give a little bit more variety. And that's what I love about the way it shawls, is that it just gives that extra pop, that thing that you might not, would still go with your wardrobe but might not happen. So I love that Susan has been designing these, and it's getting me to push myself out my little comfort color zone. But I need to work on that more if I expect to get it done anytime soon. So yeah, that's it. That's all that I have on my needles. I still haven't done the 3rd snowflake for the month. I need to sit down and do that. Excuse me. Need another drink of coffee. But I did get a little bit of stitching done this week, only on one of my cross-stitch projects, so we'll move right on to Pokey Things. I could have sworn I did some more stitching on the Once Upon a Time sampler, and I didn't. When I looked at my notes from last week on what I'd completed, I looked at it and went, okay, never mind. Don't need to haul that project down to the basement. So I only have, push that down a little. So this is a Very Merry Christmas tone. You can kind of see the progress around the hoop. Still working on the Christmas tree farm, however there is a little more done. I finished the top of the left-hand tree. I completed the right-hand tree since those were the same color. I figured might as well, as long as I had the needle threaded, I might as well get it done. And then I did the cross beams of the fence. I got these ones done over here, and I started on these. There'll be one here and one down slightly lower that I have to put in. And then I think, I think the red, there's a windowsill underneath on this side that's done in some red, and that same red needs to go around the outside of the little flag banner, or the little tree banner off to the side. So I think that's going to be what color I pull out next, because then I can shift the hoop down and have a little more space to work on the reindeer and the elves and the snow and all that fun stuff at the bottom. And then I'm not even going to say how much I'm going to get done this week. Lord only knows. Oh, so that's it. Short crafting stuff. I am going to take off my screensaver. We're going to move on to Various and Sundry. And the only thing I have under Various and Sundry, well, a couple things. So thank you everyone that told me to have a good time going out with Lynn for our birthdays. We had a very good time. Ooh, and actually, sorry, got to get to something over here that I completely forgot about, and thank goodness it was in arm's reach. So Lynn brought me a birthday present, so I bought her dinner. And basically she's gifting away her hand spun to people that she finds spin worthy, I guess, that she knows will use it and love it and make something beautiful out of it. So I got some hand spun of hers that is from the Hello Yarn Fiber Club from March 2012. It is the colorway Villain. It's a 60-30-10 superwash merino, bamboo, and nylon blend. So there's the tag from the actual bag that the fiber was in, and that's what she brought it to me in. And she did a lovely two-ply. And it's gorgeous. I have no clue what I'm going to make for it. I don't have yardage. I only know it's 4 ounces, so I think I'm going to, feels like there's probably enough for a shawl, but I'm probably going to run it through my skeiner, or not my skeiner, I don't have a skeiner, my yardage counter, and wind it up and see what I'm getting for yardage, and then I'll have to plan something pretty with it, because it is pretty, and it's so soft and bouncy and squishy, and thank you, Lynn, very, very much. It was really sweet of you for doing that. So we got that, had some delicious food, didn't get to, we went to a little place in Windsor called Hearth, and they've got a brick oven for brick oven pizzas, and gosh, I forget what else, and we had some fabulous baked brie that was delicious, and hello, can you go wrong with melty cheese? I mean, really, you can't. But we did knit a little bit. It didn't freak the muggles out quite as much as I was kind of hoping for, so that was a little bit disappointing, but it was a good night out, good food, good conversation, and good knitting time, so yay. So I'm going to move on to any questions, and this is going to be the end of the show, taking the questions from post number 9, which is Knitter Scarlet. I'm sorry, I'm kind of looking past the camera because I have it pulled up on the computer screen behind the camera. And she had several different questions. First is, what is your favorite knitting book and who is your favorite knitting author? I'm assuming by knitting book you meant pattern book. I really don't have one. anything that will give you a good, I know I've talked about, like with my, with my project bags, what I have in, oh my goodness, I want to say accessories pouch, that's wrong. Someone asked me what's in my notions bag, that's the word, there we go. God, I'm awful. I kind of like books to have be like tools, be multi-purpose as well. So, of course, I have none of these books, but anything that has a good basic, this is how you do a top-down sweater, this is how you do a bottom-up sweater, this is how you do a good basic, and then you can add in stitch patterns, you can add in this. That would probably be my favorites. Of course, I don't have names because I'm just throwing this together right now. I'm terrible. I didn't research. I'm sorry. I own very few of those books, in all honesty, because the majority of my books that I've purchased have kind of been, ooh, that's on sale, ooh, that's on sale, ooh, I like 2 patterns in that book and it's on sale. So I've got a huge plethora of pattern books that I haven't knit a whole lot out of just because they're not that basic, that good, like, this is a good basic whatever. I'm not wording this well, I'm so sorry. Good basic patterns that you can then add to. It's like having a good basic recipe for like a quick bread in kitchen, like banana bread, but then you tweak it a little bit. Instead of adding bananas, you might put in yogurt and add some cherries or something that is a good basic thing, recipe, pattern, whatever, that you can then tweak to your needs. I like things like that. However, I did pull out, in conjunction with the second one, favorite knitting books and favorite knitting author. I would have to say Yarn Harlot, Stephanie Pearl McPhee. Actually, one of her books is still upstairs. I do own them all. I think one of them might be on my Kindle, and I don't have an actual hard copy, but that could be the one that's upstairs, and I have both. Can't remember. But I can't tell you how many times I've read her first book, which is just Yarn Harlot, Secret Life of a Knitter. I mean, free range knitter, the things I learned from knitting, Knitting Rules, which also has, I think that's the one that's, yeah, that's the one that's got some of her basic patterns in it that you can then tweak however you want, like how to, like a good basic sock pattern, that kind of thing. Stephanie Pearl McPhee, Casts Off, and At Knit's End, Meditations for Women. These are just quick little one-page little dealies. So this is almost, I hate to say this, I'd almost call At Knit's End like a bathroom book, because you can, while you're doing your business, if you need reading material. God, this is awful. I'm so sorry I'm referring to this. But I have, ever since I've been little, I've always kept a book in the bathroom, because you do not want to resort to having to read the backs of shampoo bottles or cleaning supplies if it's things are taking a while. So, excuse me. Favorite knitting author, Stephanie Pearl McPhee, the Yarn Harlot. She doesn't blog quite as often as she used to, but I have gone back and read her blog over, like, from the beginning. I've read it several times, and it's kind of fun to do while you're waiting for stuff, or if you want something to read. She's absolutely hilarious. There's stuff I've almost snorted drinks out my nose, from the death of Sir Washi and being replaced, to fighting with the squirrel in her neighborhood over who's keeping her yarn that has, or fleece that has been set outside to dry. So that Yarn Harlot would definitely probably be my favorite knitting author. Okay, keep going, Karen. What knitting book would you recommend for beginner, intermediate, advanced? Again, just something basic that can then grow with you and with your needs. And it would almost be something to have a few stitch dictionaries, which the Barbara Walker treasuries are fabulous to own, that you can then incorporate with those basic beginning books. My favorite go-to spinning book. Don't have one. Never have. I've read very little on spinning. Pretty much all of my spinning has been self-taught from what other people have shown me. So I really don't have a spinning book. And I think I might have one, but everything's packed up. I haven't seen my knitting spinning books in like a year. My favorite spinning fiber go-to is my superwash merino. I don't know why I like it, and then if I gift it to someone else, I don't have to worry about them washing it and it being destroyed. But then I also like that 80/20 merino silk blend that Fiber Optic does. And other than that, other than your own, what's my favorite video podcast and audio podcast? Video podcast, I'll be honest, I don't have a whole lot of time to watch TV in general. So sitting down and watching a video podcast is kind of hard for me to do, so I really don't watch many. I watch Sadie, who does Yarnivore. I watch, but again, I'm so far behind on hers. I'm behind on Leslie and Laura because they're friends of mine. I try to keep up, but I can't. Outside of that, really not a whole lot. I'll be honest. I can't keep up. I don't have the time. And audio podcasts, I have two that I listen to. Try to keep up with the Knitmore Girls, with Jasmine and Gigi, because I like their dynamic and I've listened to them for years. And then a lot of the other audio knitting podcasts that I listen to have pod faded and aren't recording anymore. So the only other one I listen to, but again, I'm so far behind on, is Stuff You Missed in History Class, which is put on by HowStuffWorks.com. And I love that just because I'm a history trivia geek. I'm one of those people, I'm kind of good to have on your trivia team for those obscure facts because I know them. And if I don't know them, I'll find out. I had a couple patients ask me, a patient and his wife actually asked me a couple weeks ago where the phrase cold turkey came from. Now, granted, they were not native English speakers, but I was like, you know what? I don't know. Let's find out. And God bless Google, because I was able to look it up on my phone and find out for them. So then they found out, they learned a new colloquialism, a new phrase, and I added another random fact to my list of random things that I know. So, I think that's it. That's all the questions that Knitter Scarlet had. So, until next week, everyone, happy knitting.